Hey everyone, Marcin here again. Welcome back to another step in our photography business journey. Today we're tackling something that might sound a little less glamorous, but it's absolutely crucial. It's the sales cycle. In this video, here's what you'll learn. First, we'll break down what a sales cycle actually is and why it's the backbone of any successful business. Next, we'll walk through each stage of the cycle so that you know exactly what to expect from attracting clients all the way to closing the deal. And finally, I'll share some tips on how to make your sales process smoother and more efficient so you can actually turn those leads into loyal clients. Think of this as another key piece of the puzzle. Each video we do is building up your entire business strategy step by step. And at the end, I'll have a handy resource for you to download that sums up all the stages we talk about today. Let's jump in. We'll uncover how clients think, why they wait, and how to become their go-to choice. And with that, let's see the misconception of instant sales. This was me a long time ago, but this was actually something I was struggling with for quite a while. And my early days, I thought that sales was instant. I would find somebody, try to convince them, try to sell or come up with some sort of a magic formula, elevator pitch, and hoping that they'll buy on the spot. And no felt like a lost chance. So it was sort of like a one-time deal, one-time shot, make an impression. And if they said no, like, well, I guess that's a no, and I would do nothing about it. So the reality, sales is a cycle, not a one-time shot. Clients often take months, even a year to book. And depending on who it is, if you guys are like doing portraits, it's not a big deal. Somebody can tell you that they're interested. They can immediately tell you, and within like a week, you can have a scheduled engagement, meaning a shoot with them, portrait session or something. With a family session, kind of the same thing, not a big deal. But coordinating 4 people is different than coordinating one individual, right? So you will notice that that when somebody's scheduling their portrait photography, they take a little longer. So because it's just coordination. So sometimes you'll notice that it takes more than a week, sometimes 2, sometimes 3, sometimes a month, due to travel, work, or school arrangements or whatever. So it's really not uncommon. With corporate client, it could be totally different. It could take longer. And with weddings, it could take, I gotta tell you, I think the longest, I had a contract signed for a wedding, a little more than 2.5 years prior to the actual wedding, ahead of time, right? So it's a cycle, and prior to them signing, they're in your world, sort of invisible for a while too. So consider this, I just signed with a coach after 3 years. For photographers, patience is the key. And this is a true statement. I just actually signed with, I hire coaches from time to time. And this time I'm working with somebody that I have been following for 3 years. And was I following them every day? No. They were just sort of in my world, existing, evolving. And I was closer to purchasing. I actually had a conversation with them probably like 3 months into kind of hopping into their world. We hopped on a call. We had a conversation. They told me about prices. They told me about options. They told me exactly what I would be getting. And then life happened, like to all of us, right? So it wasn't that I wasn't interested in purchasing. It wasn't that I didn't like the guy. It wasn't that I didn't like the offer. I simply was like changing jobs. Something happened at home. We were renovating, doing something here at home. I can't remember what it was. But like I said, life happened and I had to stop. And it's okay. And then probably a year into it, if not year and a half, I went back and I started just sort of like monitoring the individual, still didn't buy. And then when I was really ready to buy, it wasn't really a conversation. I simply reached out and I said, I remember the conversation. We have talked. It's something that I need right now. And what's your pricing? He sent me his current most up-to-date price sheet, and there was no conversation. We didn't really interact. We had like a quick chat on Messenger on Facebook, and I booked, and that was the rest is history. So now we're working together. Let me look at my notes. So this is just so I could kind of provide you the story, like what happened with this one, and the and in photographer's case, it's gonna be very similar. I will use another example. When I was I was here the other day. Somebody knocked on the door, and the guy started with his sort of sales pitch, and it was basically solar panels. The guy's selling solar panels, so he's going on with his pitch. He's asking me questions. I automatically know what it is. I know it's a no, at least like a 98% no. I mean, we thought about it at one point, but like we're not ready to commit just yet. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like maybe, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying 100% no. Like we may at one point do the conversion, just not today. Probably not within the next month. Probably not within this year. But he basically showed up and told me the story, made an offer again, and just sort of disappeared. And I'm like, my thoughts were like, oh my God, he doesn't know a sales cycle. Like he's not aware that I may actually be his client. It's just not today. So the thing is, we have to remember about it as photographers, that people exist in our world, even if they are not reaching out. Like people are following. There are people, like I'm doing this live, somebody's watching. I have no idea. Usually when I finish the live, there's like, oh, there's 24 people watching, and I'm like, okay, I got 0 comments. I don't know who's out there, but that doesn't mean that somebody's not going to reach out and work with me later on at some point. So that's just normal. That's something that you guys should expect. I will move here to the next one and just share this slide with you. And this one says the reality clients take their time. No rush. Brides, I'll use brides as an example, and corporate clients enjoy decision-making process. They don't rush. It's something that you guys have to remember. The thing is, brides, that's a good example. They actually like the process of choosing. Weddings are a big deal for brides. Grooms, not so much, maybe. At least not most of them. But brides, they take their time. They like to go and look at different selections. They like to go and look at different work, different photographers. They may have you sort of selected at the top as like your go-to choice, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to look at somebody else's prices. Or very often they want to meet. It's like when I meet with my clients, I encourage them. Like, I'm confident in my work. This is my style. That's what I do. This is my price. And I say, listen, sometimes like I know that they're going to reach out, and I said, listen, I am so confident. You should go out and you should meet with another photographer. And if this is just price, like I want you to know, it's like it's the quality. It's the quality, the price, and how long it's going to take. Like you can choose 2, right? between the three values. So if you're choosing the price and the quality, it's going to take forever for them to do it because they focus on quality and the price is high. If you choose the time and the price, right? So it's like, oh, it's got to be fast and the price is good. That means quality, like you're definitely not going to get the quality. That's why I'm not afraid of like pricing my packages and whatever. And with me, I say, listen, this is what it is. You go out there and you should compare because you're going to immediately see. And guess what? Even if they go out to somebody and somebody offers them a lower price and a super fast delivery and the quality suffers and they're happy with that, you should let them go. And because we're not chasing every single client, because what's going to happen is you're going to take this client, you're going to try to cater to this client, and they expect low price and quick turnaround, and you offer quality stuff. This deal may actually backfire if you try to go down with price, because you're going to go down with price. You're already not happy. Now you have to deliver quality in very quick. This is where I found myself. Like I had a problem with my business at one point because I'm like, those two don't go together. Like I lower the price, so the price is lower. but I have to deliver quality, which I like because I was, doing all the work at the beginning at least. And I'm like, but it's got to be fast. And if you're getting a lot of clients, it's physically impossible for you to work on 5 weddings consecutively, right? I mean, we're talking later on. So like, it's just all logic. Brides like to take their time. Corporate people, that it's not necessarily that they enjoy the process, but there may be some like mandates around how they do selection of the vendor that they work with. Even if it's like a local business, they may have there could be some sort of like an approval process, right? So like that forces you to wait. There could be something where it's not an approval, but maybe it's the money situation, and like they have a budget next quarter to do photo engagement with photographer. It's like, okay, so you gotta wait. So it's not about, because very often we take it very personally. We think it's our style, or maybe we're not the right person. And it's like, no, very often it's a money situation. And sometimes even with wedding clients, right? They have to wait because maybe parents are paying, maybe they are waiting for the check, maybe they're waiting for, like I've worked with military personnel, first responders, like they have their own special accounts where they move money around. Like it could be just that. So it's not the work, it's not you. It's just a financial situation, something that they need to take care of. So with corporate, with brides, just something you have to understand. Takes time. It's not immediate. It's not today. So be ready for that. And the other thing here was number 2 was shop around, clients, compare, explore, and weigh options. They don't book the first photographers they see. I already mentioned that. 3, the funnel. The funnel. We lose people at every step. Awareness, nurturing, conversion. That's why visibility matters. So when I say steps, this could probably be a training session on its own, but I'll say this. When you reach out, when your piece of content, let's say you do Instagram photos, Instagram, or the owner is Facebook, same thing with Facebook content. It's being distributed to 100 random people. Will 100 random people automatically be interested in your work? No. With Instagram, TikTok, with your post that you may create on Facebook, same deal. Like, will everybody that comes across your stuff immediately be interested? No. In business, it's really the percentages that matter, because at every step you will lose certain amount of people. They will drop. Because at the beginning, let's say 100 people see what you have to offer. Let's say maybe 20 are somehow interested. Maybe they like the style. Maybe they're in a rush, just saw something, they saved it. And then they go through nurturing process, which is usually, they follow you for a little bit. They kind of get a sense for what you're doing, who you are. People, buy from people they like, trust, and know. So that nurturing happens. They don't immediately buy, but they're kind of in your ecosystem. And then within that process, they may find somebody else. They may resonate with somebody else. They may see something that maybe they don't like. But on the opposite, they may also kind of fall in love with, like, hey, I saw the style, like the style, but I also love his personality or her personality. So it's very important. And it's like this bride asking for the price. Like it's the same thing. You don't want to work with a client that's not with no chemistry, sort of, right? Because if it's just a price and a style, but like your personalities don't match, it gets really uncomfortable really quick. And it's nice because it's a sort of like a natural selection. Clients will kind of be attracted to you, and because they kind of like what you're doing and how you're doing this, it's very like sort of organic. And then, so like in that process, nurturing, again, people drop. So like from 20, it may be 10, right? Now 10 are like really interested because they saw your work initially. They spent enough time with you to like kind of look at what you have. And now they decide to maybe reach out. And they reach out, then the next opportunity, you have a sit down with them, you talk to them, and then You give them all the options. You kind of tell them about what you do. That's a separate episode, by the way. We'll talk about pricing. We'll talk about packages and how to structure them correctly. But at that point, you may only convert half of those clients. So now you see how you went from 100 to a 20, and then 20 they're nurturing turn into 10, and then you actually get to sit down with them and you turn the 10 into 5, and then you have 5 serious leads that buy from you. So you can see how it's sort of how we trim the fat as we go from awareness to nurturing to conversions, which is basically selling. So that's very important for you guys to remember. And the next one here, awareness is crucial. Nurture leads, convert prospects. I've covered that. I need to switch here so you guys see what I'm talking about. And the next slide talks about emotional versus logical buying. A lot of people think that buying is logical. Like, as long as my package makes sense, they should buy. They're far from the truth. People don't like what they need. People buy what they like. And very, very important. And I want you to, I don't know if like during Super Bowl commercials, like are there any commercials that like advertise cars? But I know like during Christmas season, and probably both, I think more maybe ladies can relate to it than guys. But the thing is, what happens is I can almost visualize the last commercial I saw of like Mercedes. When you guys see an advertisement from Mercedes, do you see them advertising features like what engine specs, how fast? It's not the case. What they do is usually the commercial starts with like family traveling on a snowy evening, and they pull up to the house at a Mercedes, of course, and they knock on the door, and there's 2 kids and mom and dad, and it looks like a mom or dad and mom or whatever open the door. Everybody's happy. There's no mention of like really what the car is about. It's just sort of like in the background. You can see the logo. It's pretty clear, or the logo is usually in a corner somewhere. Why did they do that? Because it's all emotions. And Mercedes knows that if they can tie their car, their brand, to emotions for the ladies will take their men, drag them to Mercedes dealership, and have them buy the Mercedes. That's really what it is. That's the big secret. So a lot of times when we talk to our clients, in one of my posts or one of my reels, I think I have talked about like how client thinks when they're making we're going to have a guest during the training session. Hi, if you guys don't know, this is Bruno. But let me close the door really quick. All right, back with you guys. So a lot of that is it's emotions. That's how we're purchasing. The logic is always there. So a lot of times, and you guys can probably relate. We all can relate. Like it's just different categories of things we purchase. But we usually purchase, like when you're in a store or whatever, you see something that you like. For me, it's, let's say, electronic equipment, camera gear. You usually buy with emotions. Like you're there, maybe there's a sale, maybe there's a special thing, which is, by the way, it's all driving towards emotions. And this fear of missing out, again, emotions. So we purchase emotionally, and then you find yourself like you get home like, oh my God, or you get the credit card bill like, oh, maybe I should have waited a little bit longer. But that's really what it is. Buying starts with emotions. That's what the slide says here. Logic kicks in later, because then we actually evaluate it. Is it worth it? So, and clients want to feel in control. They shop around even with a favorite photographer in this case. We buy from people we know, like, and trust. I mentioned that. It was in the reel. And then you guys have to show up consistently, build the rapport, and just basically be present, because you're going to help them do both. You're going to help them drop that emotional domino so they can connect emotionally with you. And then you can also answer any sort of logical issues, right? Like the logistics of the day. They may ask some questions. They may ask about like backup camera or who's going to back you up in case there is a problem. So that's that. You just have to be present, and you should be in a position where you can answer all the concerns, all the objections, and that's really what happens there. I think we can move on to the next one here, and the next one here is this is a good one. The power of repeated exposure. So I already mentioned this emotional domino, logical domino, and you guys have to be there, present for the client to have a chance to interact with you. And I can give you an example. You almost have to embed yourself in clients' psyche. You have to exist in their world. I talk about it a lot because it's super, super crucial. I talk about it a lot, and we're going to do an episode on content, and we're going to do an episode on training session on Facebook ads. But at the very beginning, if you don't have money to throw at Facebook ads, by the way, you shouldn't, because your message is not perfected. It doesn't work in the way where you simply create an ad, throw money at it, and thinking that it will work. You actually have to test your messaging with your clients. That's usually the best way to do it is usually through content. So don't consider Facebook ads at the beginning. I mean, you can try. It's a hit or miss, mostly miss. But you have to be present. You have to create enough of exposures, enough of opportunities for your client to kind of spend time with you, quote unquote, so they can get used to your messaging. They can understand better who you are. If you incorporate some lifestyle stuff within your content, if you incorporate some messaging around like the logic, if you incorporate some stories, maybe some wins with other clients, if you share, typically photographers share sessions. I mean, that's usually what they do. It's just, but it's only one component of the puzzle. So like, yes, your past work. Testimonials are huge. Hey guys, we're going to pause this just for 1 second. If you're enjoying this video and the content and want more exclusive content, join our Facebook community. Inside, you'll get access to live sessions where you can actually ask questions in real time. Just scan the QR code on the screen and follow the link. Can't wait to see you there. Back to the video. I'll do a separate one on testimonials and kind of what to do with the social proof, another training session. But basically, you have to provide opportunities for them to connect, to see and to understand, to get a feel for what's happening. On this slide here, it says visible equals exist. If you don't exist, I mentioned, I think in a previous episode, or no, I actually went live on my Facebook profile. And I said, if you're sitting here on the side and, 200 feet from you, there is a highway of people just passing by. Like, think of billboards, right? So you may have the greatest opportunity. You may have the greatest photography skills, the most expensive equipment, a greatest offer, great deal. But if the cars are passing and nobody knows you exist, how are they going to buy from you? So even though we may think like billboards are sort of out of fashion, I wouldn't make that statement just yet. Yes, they're maybe not the sort of conventional way as we think of like ads, and yes, there's better ways of doing it. But I got to tell you, like when I remember I had a car, that's a few years ago. I was driving BMW at that time. I was super psyched, still young and pretty, and I remember there used to be a billboard on my way home from work. And I saw that thing every single day. Guess what happened when I needed to do some work on this car? I mean, I had friends that knew garages, like there were garages within probably a mile from my house. So I could have just gone and check and inquire about pricing and services. There was two local BMW dealerships that I could go to, but that billboard, it just bakes that message into your head, that there's this another option available. And guess what? Before probably in the end, I went with like another solution. I probably listened to a friend because word of mouth is the best. Nothing beats that. You guys probably know that, or at least most of you. But there wasn't a situation where I wouldn't consider that other place, because I said if they're advertising, if they're there all the time, that means that they're making enough money and profit and revenue that they can keep this thing alive. And that means if they're alive and if they do the revenue, then people go there all the time. And it could be just because of the billboard, who knows? But it's just a mental game, right? It's just psychology of how this works. And this is exactly what we have to do. We have to be present. We have to be out there, right? So the number 2 here, it says if you're not visible, you're invisible. Obviously, you need multiple touch points to stay top of mind. And here I say there's actually 3 numbers that I always talk about. This is Daniel Priestley. If you're interested in his work, I've consumed enough of his content, more than 11 hours, and I have paid for his courses and trainings. But there's 4 numbers, 4, 7, 11, and the 4 numbers, the 3 numbers stand for 4 platforms. A lot of people consume things differently. Some of your clients are only going to be on Instagram. Some of your clients only are going to be on Facebook. Some people hate Facebook. You guys probably know those individuals, or maybe you are one of those individuals. So some will prefer Facebook. Some will prefer Instagram. Some will be on TikTok. Some only like check email at work all the time. So we have to make sure that we exist somewhere within those vicinities, even if it's a website, like that's one of the channels. But the ultimate sort of way, our goal is to have as many of those as possible. It's okay to start with 1, but eventually you want to build out your world. I'm talking year 2, year 3, when the revenue is coming in, money is coming in. You have to build those platforms to capture as many people, as much exposure, as many eyeballs as you can. The 7 hours of content, this is an extensive study that YouTube did a while back. And they basically, they can measure, obviously, your behavior. That should be a shocker these days. But they can study your behavior, and they know that they have basically concluded, the study has shown that after watching 7 hours of content, somebody goes in and buys. For whatever reason, that number is magical. And they've noticed that if somebody is in your sales cycle, like they've seen your content initially, they're kind of poking around. Maybe they have seen your website. The pixel gets them from the website now to the YouTube. YouTube serves them more content because it can tell that somebody was on your website. Probably a topic for another training session. They see more and more and more over time. And it's not like they sit there and consume 7 hours immediately. It's little bits and pieces of your content. So it could be 10 minutes, could be 15 minutes. And over time, over like 3-4 month period, you become so baked in, like that billboard in their head, that they reach out and they do business with you. And 11 touch points. This is another study, this time not YouTube, but Google. They did also an extensive study, and they found that it's 11 interactions with the product. Somebody goes out, let's say you're buying special pairs of shoes, Nikes, and you don't, sometimes if you really need to, you just go and get a pair. But very often when people are looking for something of a higher value, they search around, right? They're at work one time searching, they get home, sometimes they're bored, doctor visit, they're sitting in a waiting room and like scrolling on their phone. So it's 11 touch points, and people need 11 interactions before buying. Google knows that this is a magic number. At the bottom it says they need reminders and interactions to build trust over time. When you run into a person, there's a guy I walk I shouldn't probably disclose names, should I? But there's this nice guy that I met during walks, and I probably did, I don't know, probably a good month worth of walking where we were just passing and like saying hi and smiling. There was really no conversation. But then like month into it, I don't know how it happened, but we sort of ran into each other, or like we started walking at the same time, like, hey, hi. And like you already feel like you know this person just because of the exposure, just because I have seen him enough times, the 11 touch points, right? So it's so much easier than to like, it almost seems like it's a friend of yours, or it's just, again, that trust gets built over time. First time I saw him, he was just a stranger. But 1 month into it, is like, oh, that dude is here all the time. Like I'm here and he's here and like 3 other people. So starting a conversation for clients, like that's kind of how they think. That's how they perceive the world. Again, it's all psychology and social behavior. The next one here is buyer's journey versus expectations, and this is our expectations, like how we think it works. This is what really happens. So, and I already kind of mentioned that. So we expect the client to just kind of show up and like buy on the spot, but they're just on their own schedule. A lot of times what I want you to take away from this, guys, is that clients show up in your ecosystem. Please, I beg you, don't take it personally. They show up and things happen and people are kind of all over the place. Life happens. You know how it is. It's like you have plans to diet on Monday. And of course, Monday happens to be the most busy day in your life. So, you know how that works. And it takes time. So like the thing where I mentioned awareness, consideration, decision, they have to be first aware, give them some time. You'll basically move from this stranger to this category of like, I should definitely consider this girl or this guy, right? And then they move closer to you, and then you are part of like the decision, like maybe the top 3, but you have to be visible, right? So clients are looking. It's not uncommon for clients to, I said at the bottom, we expect clients to book fast, buyers move at their own pace. Some look today and book, and some take 6 months and book. So just be aware that those are the invisible buyers that are out there. And remember, when we're posting on social media, I had this problem initially. I'm like, I'm doing live. There's not a lot of people watching live, right? Or I'm posting content. It's like, oh my God, there's really no engagement. Or I'm asking people like leave comments. Like right now, I'm encouraging everybody like, hey, can you leave a comment? And like, I hope I'm not missing comments here, but I look and I'm like, oh, nobody responds. And it almost feels like a mini failure or like a big failure. But to me, it's like, well, I still have to do this because another client may comes by, another person that's interested in like working with me or may find this useful. It's something in the business world. It's called a forcing function. Like I have to do this because it's not only used right now at this moment. Like I'm not expecting anybody to like reach out. Hey, Marcin, let's figure this. I'm stuck here. Can you unstuck me? Can we make this work? Which we can, but this is done for future potential clients, like people in the world right now and people that will eventually join the circle. So think of it that way. Whenever you're creating content, like people are out there and it just takes time. So the biggest mistake that I see people do is just we're used to just by indoctrination school and work to work in the sense that like we do something and it's an immediate paycheck, right? And if like we do something and like paycheck is waiting, we get frustrated. And the same thing here. And it's in our psyche again, like do something, get the reward. If it's not paycheck, it's like a compliment, right? If we're helping somebody, we almost expect the thank you. And the thing is, in this process, it's different. So you just have to remember that this is how it works, that we're posting on social media. We don't get immediate follow-up, no immediate comments, maybe no engagement. It's okay. Other people also feel judged that whenever they're commenting, like it's a big step, right? Because depending on what it is, it's like they don't want to be visible. Very often I consume content all the time. Do I comment on every single thing I watch? Absolutely not. It would be crazy. So if somebody's interested in that particular topic, if somebody's listening right now and they're like stuck, like, hey, can you explain this further? They will reach out. I'll get a DM, or I'll get a comment, or I'll get a comment later, and just be patient with the process. Sorry, needed a quick sip. The next thing here is, switch back here to the screen. The next thing here is follow up. Oh my God. I gotta tell you, like, I still fail at this one. I'm like not fail because I do it, but I could be so much better. I know people that are super consistent on follow up, and it depends. Depends if you're just doing it on your own. Depends on if you have a team, if somebody's helping you out. I did mention in one of my reels, if you didn't see it, that you can multiply yourself later on. I would highly recommend that you guys go like a year or two into building phase where you're doing most of the stuff yourself. But as soon as you can, as soon as you generate, like, that's the rule. It's not the time, it's the ability to like use your capital, like use your leverage, increase your leverage. By leverage, I mean, if you have somebody that can help you, could be your kid. Maybe you have money coming in, could be like an assistant. So the sooner you get there, the game really here is not to be photographer for life. It's to build a business of photography that you first start and then you manage. Very important piece of information to retain from this session. So follow-up could be one of those things where this helper is helping us with. They can basically make sure that when a lot of businesses have something that's called, for those of you that don't know, a CRM, and it's basically, think of it as a bucket of leads where you keep the names, email addresses, maybe phone numbers, and you mark those leads with sort of different stages. That's a separate training, separate episode. I'll talk about it on how to do it. But you basically follow up with your leads as they come into your world. You label them depending on kind of where they are and how. I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole. I'll explain it in detail in another session. But CRM basically helps you to track your leads and follow up with them on a regular basis. After contact, which is after like initial contact, most people stop. Like, that's it. Somebody just came. Maybe they talked about a wedding. Like, hey, I'm a photographer. Like, I can, and it's like they sort of disappear, and we never follow up, right? Like, we never try to find this person and like ask them again. Maybe they weren't ready to buy. Maybe the money thing. Maybe they were looking at another photographer that dropped the ball and now they need another photographer. Like, there's so many reasons. Maybe they didn't hear what we said. Maybe they didn't realize that, it could be so many reasons. So after contact, the number is 80% of sales happened after the 5th follow-up. You guys believe that? Like, a lot of times it's not like a direct sale. Don't feel like you're pushy. It's just a lot of times I deal with clients where we have conversations, sometimes short, sometimes super long. I do my follow-ups. I go back and I said, because if somebody needs help, if somebody needs you as a photographer, if I work with my students and they're stuck in one point, like, I want to make sure that they can move along. And if they're stuck, like, I try to reach out, like, hey, are you stuck? Were you able to do it? Like, what's the next thing? Can I help you with the next thing? And it doesn't have to be anything super formal or super big, but I want to unstuck them and move them forward. Like, do I do it with every step? Of course not. Eventually I'll say, listen, like, I've committed time here and whatever. If you would like to consider working with me, just reach out, DM me. Like, let's set like a sort of a personalized approach for you. Where are you stuck? Let me fix those things. Let me get you moving. And that's really what happens. So 80% of sales happen after the 5th follow-up. It could be from just, hey, how's it going? Did you give up? Did it fail? Where are you? Where are you stuck? Different sort of messaging. I typically, with my students, talk about like the scripts or the things that I mentioned. So if you're interested, you can always DM me and I'll be able to provide this stuff. Email sequences, that's another thing. I do have my campaign set up. That's a separate episode for email sequences, helpful tips, not just sales pitches. You're not there to just constantly broadcast that you're a photographer and you're willing to do it and you're good at what you do. Nobody cares. Guys, you're going to have that realization hopefully quicker than later. But nobody cares about your stuff, your equipment, your offer. It's like people care about what they care about. You know, if I have an issue, I don't really care what you do. It's like I just need this fixed, right? If I need to hang, like imagine it's a simple example, and I hear this example all the time about the drill in the hole, right? Like nobody, if I don't need to hang anything on my wall, right? For which I would need like a drill or something, hammer and nails, right? But let's just say drill. I'm hanging something heavier, right? It's like I don't just randomly go out on random days to purchase drills. I only purchase drills when I need drills, when I need to hang something on the wall to make my house pretty. So it's something to know and remember that it's like there's a reason, there's a pain. Like if I get closer, let's say I have a visitor and like I'm trying to hang something to make my house pretty, and you know, I think about it, like I have to do it, and my wife nags me for a very long time. I still don't do it, but then it's like 2 days before they come. And now I'm like pressed into the situation against the wall, like, dude, you gotta just hang this thing. So I go out to the store and I buy. So it's very important to stay there. Email sequences, you're not pitching, you're just providing more value. You're helping people with questions. If you're a corporate photographer, focus on things you can answer for them. If you're a wedding photographer, same deal. That's why you see a lot of photographers going out and creating like maybe blog articles or something where they could help brides, just kind of guide them along with different things, provide tips. So that's what we do through email sequences. If we're running Facebook ads, we would be retargeting ads. Separate episode because there's a lot to cover on this one. And personal touch points, DMs, check-ins. Could be just emails, could be text messages if we have the phone number. Persistence pays off. Nurture leads patiently. Again, it reoccurs. The message reoccurs here. So this one I think we're done with. And then let's look at the next slide. Let me switch over to this screen. And you need to position yourself. Become the go-to photographer. I already kind of mentioned that, like you have to be you have to exist as an option for the clients. So they over time they see you as an authority because you're out there, you're sharing stuff, creating stuff. They already know you. They have the trust to buy. So authority, don't chase clients. Become the automatic choice. Like a lot of clients think about it, like even in your area, there could be a bunch of like what we call competition, but it's a lot of people with camera and gear that are just waiting and hoping. You know, hope is not a strategy, business strategy. So, but if you're the one out there just kind of creating, content, helping people, you become that authority and you automatically elevate yourself to a different level. Already known. When people need a photographer, they should already know you, obviously. And then trust, consistent social media, testimonials, valuable content like blogs and tips and behind the scenes. That should be all part of your content. I talk about content strategy in another episode. And if you need help with that, just reach out. So that's really what happens there. And I think we're getting close to the end. Yes. So in conclusion, we kind of covered three things. The key takeaways: process. Sales is a process. It's not a one-time pitch. Like we don't just do it once. We continuously deliver. Exposure. Clients need multiple exposures. We've talked about the numbers. For 7-Eleven. And value. Be present and consistently provide value. This is where you're helping people and they feel like they need to reciprocate. This is how we are. This is how we are wired as human beings. And if somebody helps us and moves us along, we feel like we need to sort of pay them back, and that's why we develop this trust and reciprocity, and people reach out back. It's all about presence and providing value. These actions will bring sales. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I love sharing this information with you for free. And the best way you can support me is by subscribing to the channel. Obviously, you're liking the video or leaving a comment below. Your support means the world to me. And if you haven't enjoyed the content, make sure to check out the next video suggested on the screen. See you there.